You must awaken now. You are the melanin carriers on this planet. You were the original 12-stranded people, and you were given that privilege through a whole lot of work and time. It was not something given to you by chance. Because you fell from grace and sought to make better than your Creator, you suffered by that you created, and then also was brought to your planet that you created in a higher form. In other words, once you think that you are a God, you must act God-like, not sometime, but all the time. Because once a God falls short, there are so many things that are not God-like, just waiting to lapdog you up and tear you apart, that you're open then to the whole holocaust of the cosmos, not the faked holocaust on earth. The real Jews, as you found out, are you. The 13 tribes had nothing to do with just earth people. It embodied Lucifer Maldek, the exploded planet, which rained down upon you those lost souls, which destroyed a whole planet in your system that you helped sustain. Many of you are reincarnate Maldekians, Luciferians, and you probably don't even want to deal with that, but if it is truth, it will come back to haunt and vibrate. I'm style triggering all your opening points. We'll see which ones run with it. In the great role of play that is a planet, people are brought to it to learn and to show in physical embodiment, physical reality, in a lifetime, what they have learned in the heavens of earth. What they have learned on the spiritual and mental plane is of no value until in a time when given a physical body with physical challenges, you see what you can do really under pressure. Time and time again, some of these best people failed. And time again, as they failed, it lowered the vibration of the planet until the planet was put into a coma. The planet now wants to awaken. It is almost awakened, and the more you begin to channel in successfully this new energy through your pineals, through your melanin, your energy fields will attract more and more of cosmic light. Let's put this another way. Our sun was nothing more than a step-down transformer. Some people call it, if you're into physics, a transducer. It is now a capacitor. It is a step-up transformer. Whereas at one time it filtered out great light and energy that came from deep space through our planet so that we could live under a sun. And you remember the saying, there's nothing new under a sun. And there isn't. In 59, it completely reversed its polarity, and now it is sending forth energy, augmented by the kind of what they call cosmic and gamma rays that are coming into it. This year, by this summer, you will begin to hear more and more about sunspot activity, solar prominences, perturbations, and how our sun is a deadly enemy about to annihilate us all because it is going to burn us up with X-rays and gamma rays. Not all of us. Not all of us. Some of us. And who are the us's? Whoever are the chosen. How are you chosen? You choose yourself. By following the disciplines you know you should have been doing, not tomorrow, but yesterday. By doing the readings and the research and taking the time to spend in meditation, the things you thought you should have done 5 years ago, you start them immediately tomorrow. By not being threatened or coerced, you do because of the goading mechanism within your own spiritual consciousness, that you know you should be doing as though a policeman was there or mother was looking, and you do better than both of those authoritarian figures because you are rising. Once you channel in that light, for every one of you, you're worth 1,000 of non-channelers because they're the dead. They will not awaken. You cannot wait for them. If you do not do that in mass, you will be subject to the technical prowess of a people who are soulless that now have control of this planet. And if you're ready to go up against them, I bless you. If you're ready to go up against them alone, I feel sorry for you. We will learn a lesson that will stay with you forever. You cannot match them in their technology. Forget it. What you knew subconsciously, and what you know even as you hear the tone and tenor of my voice is true, is that somewhere or another you could raise a spiritual quality that could match that in some kind of way. You just didn't know how to go about doing it. And you know that you had lost something and you wanted it returned. You have that privilege now. AIDS and every other man-made deceptive agent to stop you from progressing physically and cause your journey of life to end quickly will only be thwarted when you can raise your vibrational rates enough where none of those things can exist within that contact field. And then those that met it and made it will mete out its suffering and suffer the same thing that they started. The planet cannot help you till you vibrate high enough to take the light. It's just that simple. Other than that, you will be destroyed just like those that are trying to destroy your planet once again. How many don't understand what I just said? Raise your hands. Be honest. Oh, good. Most of you do. Let's try it from another angle. And I think I'm going to ask this question. How many do understand what I just said, but haven't made sure yet that they want to believe it, and so they're kind of marking time? I think I might see some more pure hands. You know what I said, but let's try it again. Let's play with this a while. Let's break it down.
It's the light. It's the concept of light.
Now, you may speak for many. But try and break it down. I would be not worth my purpose if I gave a lecture and nobody understood it. If you don't believe me, that's okay. But I want you to understand me. We live in a solar system that has a sun. That sun propagates everything on our planet. Most things on our planet that are in sequence with the Creator produce either photosynthesis or in some other way take light and convert it into usable energy. Not harmful X-rays, not cathode ray bombardment. You use light. To do so, you darken just like plants darken because you have melanin. That was a gift from the gods to the God being. A way of letting you use higher universal energy without it destroying your physical body and releasing you what you really are anyway, pure spirit, because you're not physical. Some of you still may doubt that. You're not physical. That's why you go to sleep each night. To renew that can't be renewed with food or drink. You get out of the body, it charges up, you come back in the body, and you go through another work day. Get down and ask yourself where you're going to go when you go to sleep tonight. And hurry up and get back from there too. Because other people will be mourning you if you don't watch out. You must come out of that body, which makes you lose consciousness, and that's when the body is renewed. Then you break your fast in the mornings and proceed on another day. You eat breakfast, right? Ask yourself tonight, if you're not fearful, trepidous or so, that when you go to sleep, you want to wake up and find out where you are. Just make that little agreement with yourself tonight, but use caution. You might do it. That's a test to find out how fearless you are. Say, I'm going to wake up tonight, not in some dream stupor and some collage in black and white or color, but I'm going to wake up when I go to sleep tonight and find out who I really am. And that makes sense? I'll be confused by that one too. One person. Yeah, okay, we'll see. The light from this sun maintains all life forms that are of the Creator. That's why the sun is placed in a solar system under the control until the people can emerge and start their own light. Okay? Our sun now is putting out more energy than it has in a very long time. Enough to activate all your DNA patterns in your cells and cause them to try and become entwined and in unison. It's enough energy to do that. Now, they will call it all kinds of names. I'll run through some of the names if necessary. But that's the key thing. It takes a tremendous amount of energy to agitate all those strands and have them to connect again into one melatonin molecule which can then activate the other cells or the other DNA strands within it and cause you to function on a higher vibrational rate. If the sun was not there to do that, you could not do it on your own, because before, most of us have failed when we tried to do it. The energy was not there. Now the energy is coming back. What you're going to hear, as I say, is about the sun now being too active and how harmful and how radioactive, and people are going to have to stay away from the beaches. You won't have to. And the more you walk in light, it will give you more and more energy.
For a soulless mankind, it profits now the knell of the death bell. For it means that if our planet can take in new energy, and if the electromagnetic field or frequency barrier can be altered so that higher frequencies can come in, and that pineal gland kicks in, then you will be once again in tune with your planet. And mankind, having no soul, having only the ability to report to the Lord God Master, will go crazy and begin to dysfunction and do crazy things. Human, who is part of both, will begin to question and try to follow its higher source, and the whole thing will lead to tremendous wars or tremendous conflagrations. The war will last no time if the sons of God can awaken to who they are, because once they get in tune with the planetary head, the planet will do whatever they as a unit ask for. That is what some of the Yoruba people understood, what the magicians understand, and in a small way try once more to get in frequency with the slower heavens just above where they live, or on their continent, or the elemental kingdom can obey. It was meant that the sons of God, being of the seed of angels, didn't have to even do that. They could summon, they could call forth, they could put aside. But before any of that could be done, they had to first come into the consciousness and frequency of who they were. Again, I kind of repeat what I said when I was here before. This summer, you will hear, and starting this summer, probably for the next 3 years, about the sunspot activity being on the increase. You'll begin to hear more again about solar activity, prominences, all types of energy from the sun that will be very harmful. You'll hear about ultraviolet light burning tissue and melanomas and carcinomas affecting the blood and the skin of people on earth. For the sons of God who have an active pineal, that will be a day of blessing, for it will not affect you. You will not be burned, you will simply darken, and the melanin growing, it's almost like a vicious cycle to make you more and more powerful. As they get cancers of the skin and glands, you will get glands beginning to awaken and throwing out the frequencies that are not good and reconnecting the DNA molecules that were separated. For at one time we had 12 strands of DNA, now we have 2. How could we function as an advanced God or being when we don't even have the right hookup? We can't go to 220. We've got to stay at 110, 120. That will activate the glands to begin to work on the molecules of the cells, and the cell's DNA will begin to unite. What they call junk DNA is not junk DNA. It is where it all got blasted apart, and now, like an amoeba, it will be coming together again, and each cell in your body, blueprint, will begin to vibrate faster as you become once what you were, the true sons of the God. For man to be man at this time, man must understand his feminine counterpart that is within him, his animal counterpart that is within him, the angel and God counterpart that is within him, and his own soul blueprint, which is him. That's why you will find people undergoing hypnosis, past life recall, flashbacks of things and intuitively that they didn't know happened, but they'll begin to see their past lives come forth. People that they meet that they'll be drawn to and they don't know why. Places that they'll go and they'll go to and they don't know why. But each time you'll find that there's a benefit that comes when you follow that mind, because it will be something of an experience that will help to reawaken you. You must remember who you were. You must work with the DNAs in order for the DNAs to begin to entwine together. We speak of the tetragrammaton, which of course Jewish people cannot affirm. They will not say the name Yahweh. They will not say Yad-Heh-Vav-Heh. They will not say any of those things because they were not the chosen for this energy. They were usurpers and interpreters of the books of magic without the soul to contend with them. But the soulless ones and the soul ones were both asleep. Now when we understand that as this pineal gland flashes more and more, as the pyramid begins to also begin to give off sounds and the Sphinx begins to vibrate, that it is only a sign that the sons of God are calling forth their fathers and the angels are now being summoned to return. When they come back, the sky will be full of spaceships. Some are already there and seen by those who can see in that frequency. Others never see them. When that happens, all granite formations in, on, and around our earth will begin to give off sounds and vibrations. It will be a sign. With that will increase mighty earthquake and volcanic activity. It has to be that way. And if you happen to live on a fault line, you best move. If you hold back further the retardation of this planet, you are not serving the planet, and the planet cannot serve you. You will always be told, once you're a psychic, when to move on and what to avoid. And the more you come in tune with the lines of force coming into our planet, the more will be your radio that is built in that will operate, and you will just know what to do or what to avoid. You'll know who to trust and who to accept. You'll know when you're powerful and when you're weak, and you'll know what to do to increase either one. The thing is, will you follow that inner voice and that inner sign? To conclude the part of the man lecture, man is separate from mankind, who is an invention by the Lord God. The Lord God is a planetary ruler, and each planet has rulers, and this one went a little bit berserk because of things that happened, which we'd have to talk about, which is under the science called cosmology. It has nothing to do with the first cause, God, a creator. Please do not say that I said that. We're talking about advanced beings who from time to time see the planet and from time to time even interfere with the planet, and now they must move on. The creation that was here, that went through all of this, will be double rewarded, because the souls that choose to incarnate at this time, which we call children, and have incarnated for the last 40 years, the advanced triggers, now will be rewarded for what they came here and suffered greatly through to get the job done and to show again that the angels could return. Children are our key. That's why the state wants to run your children, disrupt your home, and do everything it can to stop that soul from awakening and being the mighty army that they were sent here to be. This is where we must talk to women and mothers. We must talk to the man, however, because in many cases it is the boy child that is the one that will carry forth the great ruler out of which his continence will come, that the angels will walk through and work through, and whose chamber will awaken just as the Sphinx and pyramid is awakening. Let me just say this as I conclude the first part. They not only have found the same Sphinx on Mars, as the Zulu also told you, but on the moon, on Jupiter, and everywhere they go, the same Sphinx bears them back. The sons of God did not just come to the earth. They are the masters of our solar system and our constellation. Just as in Star Wars there was wars between the good and bad, there was a war here on earth. They hid that book from the Bible, the Wars of the Lords. They hid all of the things that would let you begin to understand that you were different from the other races of earth, and earth was your home, not theirs. But now that you can come into consciousness, you won't have to worry about getting out in the street with AKAs, going out in the street and shooting them up. You can carry more power that will stop any bullets from being fired. You can cause earthquakes to happen or not. You can cause fire to actually come from the sky And I'm not trying to compliment you, because misuse will burn you up too. It's just a simpler way of understanding as you're beginning to come into your own, certain conditions are necessary. Our planet has come under a period of ignorance, dumbness, and lowered vibration, and that time is now to move. It is past. There is no reason for ignorance, dumbness, or lowered vibration if you want, and if you happen to be of the sons of the God and you don't respond to it, you will soon be dead. Now, isn't that a big threat? I'm not making the threat. I'm interpreting new and future knowledge. As a metaphysician is supposed to, you have to find out whether you can agree with it or not. There is no truth until you decide what truth is, and each person should find that truth out for his or herself. Human, by which if you look in the encyclopedias and dictionary, it says we're all human beings. That's a lie. We are not all human beings. Human is animal man. Hu was a god Hu, which was the lower planes, again, under the old teaching of the ancient Sudanese and Nubian people, and later on the so-called Egyptian people, which was a mixed race. You're going to find out just how mixed in a minute. Human did not come from God, or what we call the Creator, but from lords, or which we now call the Lord God, and animals. They were a creation by scientists who we now refer to as Lord gods. And they made human by engrafting and changing the animal life at different times as they found it on this planet and from other planets, and dropped them off here. God-man, this is the key, and the ones that had the key to the Sphinx and the pyramid, were from the sons of gods, or which we now refer to as the angels. And they were a cross between mankind and the sons of gods, or the angels. Understand this, in fundamentalist teachings, angels are those spirits who represent the Most High and who fly around with wings and live whether it's in Herod or some of the lower heavens, and do the biddings of God himself. That is a fundamentalist interpretation. I do not decry a religion. I do not argue religion. I say that is only one interpretation of an angel. The other is those who mastered the angles, those who could bend light rays, those who understood the four pillars of the sacred sign of the swastika, which was not called the swastika, but a whole different name. It mastered those who could understood the four rays of consciousness necessary to exist on the fourth dimension, which Earth was supposed to have been into millions of years ago, but got held back by humans. Now, as humans who are going to begin to die out, and the sons of God must come to the fore, so the angels can return, that awakened person is the one that will now go through changes like you have not seen, as he attempts to throw off the dross, the animal, and come into his own consciousness. Mankind came from the lords of different planets and was soulless and could not reproduce. I repeat the three. Human, animal man, made from animal species both on this planet and other planets. God-man, the sons of God, and also sometimes interpreting with mankind, a made person again by Lord gods on other planets. And mankind again by strictly the lords of other planets in this one. Obviously, you can begin to see what I'm inferring. This has nothing to do with the Creator, the prime causation, the cosmic universal logoi. This has to do with people who evolve up the ladder, and because of their knowledge of genetics, their knowledge of geography, their knowledge of astrology, their knowledge of astrophysics, when they come to a planet, you treat them like gods. All of the series that you see now, Babylon 5, Deep Space Nine, and all the rest of it, are trying to show you what really may exist in this system and in other systems to let you come into what is now called the planetary brotherhood. To awaken from the idea that you are a lone important species, you are not. But now the earth is becoming an important place, as we will find out for numbers of reasons over this weekend, as we get deeper even tomorrow than we're going to go tonight. This is to awaken those who are not soulless, but have deep spiritual souls. One of the things that black people have found consistently is that in the face of adversity, they sing. In the face of adversity, they can laugh. In the face of adversity, they come together as a unit. And one thing seems to bother them. They know that they're supposed to worship something. They know that they're supposed to be spiritual entities, but they're not finding the results sometimes strong enough. They have found that in following religions fervently enough, really getting on fire with it, miracles do happen. But down deep, they're not satisfied because they still feel there ought to be a shortcut, and they know that something's there, but it's just not quite right, and daggone it, it frustrates me no end. How many have actually felt like that? Don't lie, if you haven't, you haven't. Most of you do. That's why the churches now, the people are going to the strongest word, the best choir, and the best place where they can also make money and meet good mates, and they're falling away from little churches that just can't make it anymore. Fundamentalism is separating from the advanced spiritual person. Again, I say this, and don't say I came here and talked about the churches and put them down. I'm not. Let each person go to any church they choose. It is their choosing. They will be responsible for their own souls if they have one. I'm saying that there's a difference between a spiritual person and a religious person. A spiritual person does not need a church, for the home and temple of God that they find their souls in is the church, and how they keep it clean and how they keep it out of ignorance and what they do with it shows their manifestation of the God's life. For the other, they need a religious fervor and constantly reminded because they do not have quite the soul that is risen to the point where they can again manifest the Creator within them. So they constantly have to remind themselves as a herd come together to give themselves the strength to carry on. That is changing. That's why you're going to find the church being attacked like never before, and leaders in false churches falling like never before, and that's why the Falwells and all the rest of it, and you find them like little animals attacking each other, each one pulling each other down, and the congregation suffering from it. Because man must learn he does not have to go to a church, he is the church. For close to 5 million years, the sons of God have degenerated on this planet. Their souls have come and gone in bodies, never opening up to what and who they really were, only from time to time getting a little light into what they potentially were supposed to be. Once they were not able to call on directly the universal cosmic creator, they had to then accept false gods and false teachings by mankind who was put upon the earth later on by others to keep this Son of God in control. From greatness and grandeur, having the bloodline of the angels, they also had the higher frequency body potential of the angels. But now it was locked in an animal body and could only escape between the hours of 11 and 2 in the morning, when the pineal gland could kick in and they could come out of these false bodies and become what they really were. That's why people who dream in black and white are on the verge of ascending. People who dream in color and remember the dreams and have dreams that come in threes are prophets. And as it moves up again, they can begin to awaken and come outside of your body, look down upon your body, and see that you are more than the body, because you never were human. You were simply encased in human and locked in by the frequency barrier, and you didn't know who you were. Trapped on a planet who you didn't even come from, or only here for a lesson, the lesson has got to go on and on and on infinitum, or even the planet is getting tired of that now and is changing the frequency. What we are about the business now is awakening. As you watch the stars, you will see, and if some of you are very much into celestial mechanics, into astrology or astronomy, you will find that the constellations are not in the proximity that they were even back in 1975. They have been displaced. You will find that due to what is called the progression of the equinoxes, even the signs by which you think you were born under no longer are the signs that rule you. They are not your natal ruling signs, because they have now changed 30 degrees. Time and frequencies are speeding up. Some of you should have noticed that the days are flying by. The time seems to just slip by. That's for you who are matching vibrations. You become quickened, sometimes agitated, sometimes searching for what you don't even know you're searching for, but you know something is changing, while other soulless creatures say time is still the same. It is not the same. Time is frequencing upward. It's speeding up. You must also speed up, and to do so, you must awaken those glands that can cause your body to keep up with your soul. And it means you will be mutating. Don't become frightened of mutation. Sometimes if everybody mutates, nobody notices. The first mutation will be of the soul progression, and your neuron centers will begin to clean up their act. That's why head colds will be the rule. That's why asthma will be the rule. Asthmatic conditions will be the rule as you try to clean off the mucus and burn it up. The more you use your brain, the faster it will be burned up, and the more you get the headaches, and the headaches will go away because you'll finally begin the frequency like you're supposed to. For those who can't, they will get sick of head diseases and die. For those who can't and are in the body, they'll get attacked by body diseases and die. This ease only means one thing: imbalance, out of order. To hold a charge and not be able to use that charge will cause that charge to burn up the wires, to burn up the connections. This is why you're moved now to do things probably you hadn't wanted to do before. Certain health foods, certain health drinks, herbals. You all wanted to go into the marijuana and stuff before because you know there was something that you could activate. And so rather than do it the hard way, you say, I'm going to just trip out real quick. Not understanding that in a lowered frequency, when you do that, you run into lower vibrations, which also are called to a planet with that, and into all kind of trouble, losing your mortal souls. We've all talked about that, but we didn't understand what we were saying. But to a clear head, who through the use of consciousness-raising drugs, now I'm not talking about now the street drugs, I'm not talking about barbiturates and influence and all this kind of thing. I'm talking about the wuxis and the fotis and the ginsengs and the things that can tremendously raise your vibrational rate. The pineal gland then begins to activate and not die up and dry up. It activates.
Everything that is disseminated. I was talking to the group last night. You know, I can go into the health thing on that part too. Everything that they tell you is wrong and to deceive you. As our sun has reversed its polarity and is now putting out more energy, it is changing to magnetic frequency. Our Earth pretty soon will not be able to generate electricity. And everything electrical will fail. Get ready for brownouts, blackouts, dim outs. The Edison Company put in comment, rotating blackouts and brownouts. Everything, rather than the generators blowing out. That's why they were after nuclear power. And the nuclear power that they had is nothing but a big hot water heater. They say, oh, Blair, you just make everything contrite. You go silly out. That's exactly what it is. They go through all this fallout to generate heat so that a hot water turbine can take it around the reactor and they send the hot water out to you. I think it's a better, easier way to boil water, but you bought all of this wonderful science. Every scientific, well, let's just say that might be too much of an exaggeration. 90% of the scientific advances made on this planet have been done by Negroid-looking black people. And they hide all of that. We still think that Caucasians are the generators of original thought and creativity. You believe that? And I got 5 bridges I want to tell you. They're all in my hip pocket. This planet is a creation and a maintenance of various life forms, one of the few places in our solar system, and probably our galaxy, as I do my research, that such a thing can take place. We can have 7 different kinds of life forms here in the form of what we call humanoid. No other planet can do that. We have literally trillions of other kinds of life here. Going to the microbiologist world, you know what I'm talking about. Now you say, well, there are only 5 races of man. Well, there are only 5 races of human beings. Well, but there are only 5 races of mankind. Well, there are 2 more you don't know about on the inside Earth. They make contact with them. And they also know that everything on this planet has a reason for being, and now it's time to elevate that consciousness. Energy from the sun is coming in, streaming in, with the energy that is going to cause magnetism to become the way of life. You read that Tylenol, you got 3 days pretty soon coming up of darkness. You believe that time. Read about some of the books of Revelation, there will be time when the clouds will be hidden, will hide the sun, and great pestilence and the beast will walk the earth. You read the Al-Quran, you read when Allah has judgment, and when Muhammad was told again that there will be changes coming, in which man would not be able to live unless man had found descendants. The great plains, the mother plains would come. If you read the book of Dizian, of the Kish, down in South America, and the Papugo, all talks about a time when the sun will change, when the people on the surface of earth will be fried, and other people will ascend, and others will have to go into the earth to live because they will not be able to stand the light of day. The light of day, the energy of the Creator, not the heat. The light of a higher, resolving, magnetic frequency in which the spirit of man will be illumined and people will glow. But they'll glow because inside they're finally coming alive as to who they are. They become then sons of the sun. Ever heard the phrase, there's nothing new under a sun? There isn't, because when they're sons, there's going to be control ability and control factors. Without the sun, you create your own life, as they have done in many strange places on earth, because you generate energy, and you see on a plane, much like we're talking about now, infrared, because you see with your soul, and you see with your heart, and you see with your eyes moving after the sun. Our planet has a great interrupter, and a great degenerator is called the moon. The moon is an artificial body that is hollow and should not even be there. The moon generates electricity and has been a plague to man ever since it was placed there, because it allowed human and man and mankind to live together, because only man could survive if the moon was not there. That's why they're going to the moon, finally. They lied about it for 30 years.
Anytime you're in any place where you have a speaker, a singer, a performer, a movie, that's why they have these cineplexes going on now, not only to save money, but to get you corralled under one dome. And once you do that, you have a brain that has 2 lobes, 5 divisions. You have your left brain and your right brain. One is called logical, the other is called rational. Actually irrational, because the right brain is like a 5-story building, a block square, and the left brain's like a Quonset hut. You've got the left brain controlling a 5-story building with everything you can think of in it, and this is where we give most of our attention to the so-called logical brain. So once the logical brain, which supposedly differentiates and teaches you right from wrong, makes you use logic and governorship by logic, once the left brain is occupied, logically looking at, singing, dancing, whatever it is, and getting your attention, the right brain can be easily accessed. When the right brain can be easily accessed, interesting things happen. The right brain believes anything that it hears in your tenor of voice, your modulation of voice, your volume of voice, everything about your vibration. Anytime it hears it, it believes it. Under hypnosis, you deaden the left brain, the logical reasoning, conspiracy brain, and you open up the right brain. Drugs can do it, but a simple thing like using the spoken word can now do it too. Because in many of these places, they are wired for sound that you do not hear. They're wired to work on a frequency that the left brain doesn't pick up, but the right brain does. I have a workshop. That's the way I got through school so fast people couldn't understand. In fact, they accused me of cheating. I didn't have to cheat because the Creator had already cheated for me. I found out an easy way to access the right brain which forgets nothing, and how to tag it, call it up when I need it. It's still doing it, but now it's doing it without your control. The key is to be able to control the genie, the jinn, the wonderful spiritual inside you that begs for freedom and gets locked up. Your right brain can do just about anything you imagine because it is your key to spirit, mind, and soul. Through the pineal gland and the king's chamber and the lower queen's chamber, which is nothing but the hypothalamus of the two biggest organs and glands in your body, that separates you from the beast and everything else, and they deaden it. So once you're occupied with the left brain, they can now send down a high frequency signal to your right brain. You won't even it's been implanted, and you'll carry out every instruction that it gives you because your governor is off. Your modulator is gone. And then they tell you to forget that it was gone if you remember to forget. Huh? I'm playing with you. Because they already are. I do it with love. They do it with malice, aforethought, and hate, and envy. Worse than that, they envy you. You don't even know why you're envied, but you are. Anything that speeds up 6 times over and becomes a blur is what your right brain hears. Anything below that is what your left brain, logical brain hears, and your right brain just goes to sleep and say, well, it's another foolish day. Another day I can sleep because people ain't ready. They're not operating on a vibration fast enough. Well, in spite and despite of you, the planet is now going to operate on a frequency that's fast enough. And if you don't catch up, you're going to die. You're going to die anyway. But you'll die faster if you can't keep in synchronous, in harmony, in vibrational rational with the planet. Your planet is speeding up its vibrational rate. It's creating a magnetic field. Magnetism is for the spiritual people. It's for people with souls. It's what our planet used to have before the moon was put here, before all the Dracons came here and tried to make it part of their galaxy and tried to create humanoids, succeeded in one, failed in the other, but they're still trying. I just told you a lot right there. I don't know how many of you heard me, but I tried. At this time, there's a battle between the draconic forces called snake people, alligator people, reptile people, whatever you want to call them, that are egg-born, have no souls, and the soul womb-borns who are just beginning to find out how you fought the battle and licked them before, but now they're licking you, and you know what they're licking you in. Because it's a time when you're going backwards instead of forwards. And as you try to awaken, they put more stress on you. Reverse mortgages, subprime loans, bills sending twice a month to you, taxes overtaxing, depleted uranium, shots, vaccines. Here comes the next flu. Here comes the next epidemic. Here's something gonna fall on your head from space. Anything to keep you so stressed out that you cannot take time to meditate and to think. Anything to make you think that material things are the only thing you have in life when you were born here to learn that the spiritual value is what you really must come back to. The sun is not hot. The sun is not bright. The sun is an energy governor. That's why they tell you there's nothing new under a sun. Any planet under a sun cannot govern itself until it can begin to be part of a sun itself, or the people get so illuminated that the planet begins to shine like a sun. Illumination cannot come with those who don't have souls, because your lumen orbit in you is that little bright light that is your sun, shined up here in your hypothalamus through your pineal gland. Can I make it any plainer? I don't think so.